Welcome to part 2 of formatting Excel. Within part 2, we're going to get into more detail around the feature of conditional formatting. Hello again, I am the Preppy Professor, and I'm going to be walking you through the key skills of how to increase the effort in formatting Excel. So what are some objectives? I'm going to take you through the features of how to apply colors, patterns, and borders. And then we're going to get into the details and talk about all of the cool ways you can apply a conditional formatting. So let's get into our spreadsheet. Now, part 1 went through how to change the font and apply all of the different edits that you currently see within the spreadsheet. Now we're going to apply some colors, some patterns, as well as some borders. What I like to refer to it as prettying up our worksheet. The first thing I'm going to focus on is adding shading and colors to our spreadsheet. And the first is on our title of our worksheet, and that is what I have selected here. This cell I have selected that has been centered and merged, as you can see up here in the alignment. A way to apply some shading would be to go to our font, and anytime you see this paint bucket, that allows you to fill that cell with the color. So I'm going to fill it with the color, just so you all can kind of see what that looks like. And that's one way that you can apply some color to your spreadsheet. You also can continue to do it, and any cell that you select, you can apply that fill color. Another way you can apply the fill color is by right-clicking. If you right-click, you can go down to Format Cell. If you click Format Cell, you have an option that says Fill. That will give you the same feature that I showed you right up here about filling in the color, and then you can select a color from here as well. And that would fill in those cells with that color. Another way to get that drop down in that dialog box as well, if you don't want to right click, is you always can go up to your home tab, press that down arrow, and that same dialog box will open up to allow you those features. So always 3 ways to do the same thing within Excel. You also can apply something that's called borders. So within an Excel spreadsheet, you see these gray lines that separate your rows and columns, and those are referred to as grid lines. These grid lines do not show up if you go to print your document. So I just want to show you all this for just as a overview of what that looks like. So if I go to view and I go to my page layout, okay, notice how the grid lines are on the page layout. But if I want to see what it looks like if I print it out and I go to File and I click Print, I'm going to get a print preview of what that looks like in this window. And notice there are no grid lines on this print preview. So this is actually what it would look like if I printed it out. But I want my data to have some type of border and a border of a line to show that this is actually a table of data. So a way, and all I did was just click normal, guys, to get back to my normal view. A way to include borders to make all of these numbers and values within a table is to add something called a border. So how you would add a border is to select the data, okay, and you could select many cells or you could select one cell. And I'm going to just go to this line here of where it stops with my itemized list of expenses within this report. And I'm going to go up to where my font is on my home tab, and you see where it says bottom border. This is where you could select, click the drop down box, all of your borders. And your borders then would apply to the selected area of data. Another way to get that option would be to click that down arrow on that dialog box, go to borders, and you have another option here of how to build your borders. This is giving you more features of selecting your borders where you're able to select what type of line you want on your borders and actually where it goes. So to give you an idea of what it looks like, I'm going to select this border here. I'm going to go inside and notice how it's going to be inside. I'm also going to select outline. So it's showing you where all the borders are going to show within your selected data. I'm going to click OK. Notice how when I clicked OK, my borders are now selected and my data is now within a table. If I want to change any of this at any point, I could select that area again. I could then go back to where I had those options, and maybe the line is too thick. So maybe I want it to be just a little bit lighter on the line. So anywhere I want to change that, notice I am clicking within the area of this box, and it's going to automatically change the size of the line and the style of the line that I have selected. If I press OK, notice how it automatically changes. So you have the ability to add borders that way, or if you want to select only one cell and you want to choose the quick access to changing the borders, you can just click that icon there and notice how it would apply whatever you want to select, or however you want it, it'll apply that to that cell. So now let's look at our print preview of what it looks like now that we've added borders. So in Excel, they don't automatically show up. Even though you're putting your data on these grid lines, they don't print out. So borders is very good in order to have some organization for your audience or whomever is looking at this document to draw their eyes in on the cohesiveness of the data that you have within your worksheet. So you also can apply, and I just want to show some other neat features around changing the font and shading and color within your worksheet, is you have the ability to insert something called a theme. So if you go to the page layout and you go to themes, I'm going to click the drop down box of the theme. A theme will change the color as well as, so notice whenever I scroll over the theme, how it automatically has these default themes outlined that could change the color, the font, the style of your table just by selecting one of these themes. So these are here and available if you don't want to create one on your own and you want to use something that is already here. You have themes. You also can click browse themes, and if you have some saved on your computer, you can pick those as well. So really neat features to know when you are quote unquote prettying up your worksheet prior to sharing it with another user. Now, what about conditional formatting? So conditional formatting changes the appearance of the different types of data, but you can also use formatting to highlight important aspects of the data itself. Conditional formatting allows you to do that. If within your data you want to show that there's a high or a low value within a specific range, conditional formatting would be the way to go. For example, if we want to look at our data here and we want to show, based upon the numbers that are here, a range of maybe we want it above $500 or maybe it should be below $500, we can apply conditional formatting to that. This is a really good feature to use if you're creating a budget and you want to see maybe those expenses that are within the budget, or maybe those itemized items that are on your budget if you're out of budget or within the budget. Conditional formatting allow you to apply that to your worksheet and highlight those numbers. So how does it work? You will go to your Home tab, make sure your data is selected of what you want to apply the conditional formatting to, and you'll click the drop-down box for conditional formatting. There are some predefined options that are already there. If you scroll over, you'll notice that based upon the total, they're going to show you where that value is ranging, okay, based upon the total. So I'm going to select this one here. So from all the data that we have, the highest number, it seems like, is $8,156. Notice it takes that shading. It's going to take up the entire cell. The amounts that are not even close, like this $100, they have no shading at all. That's an example of conditional formatting. So I'm gonna go back and select again, go back up to conditional formatting. We also can put icons in to show if it is higher or lower than the value that we can set. So I'm actually going to select, I actually like the up and down arrows. So I'm going to select that. And notice, based upon this amount, it's letting you know if it is down, below, or if it is greater than. Now remember, in part one, we talked about anytime you see these dollar signs, in order to see all of the values within your cell, you just need to adjust that column width. And how I adjust it was just going up to the top of my column. My cursor changes, I double click and it opens up for me. So notice, because I didn't take away the other conditional formatting, it showed that these are kind of my high numbers within my values. These are kind of in between, and anything below that, notice it has a red arrow down. You also can specify what you want the conditional formatting, and you can specify a rule. And I always move so fast, but you'll go back up to conditional formatting. You have here where you can create a new rule. You can clear any rules that are there, or you can manage the rules that are currently in place. With that, there's going to be a conditional formatting rule manager that will pop up. It allows you to select, well, which one of the cells do you want to see the arrows in all of them or not? Do you want all of the cells? You're like, maybe no. Maybe I'll just delete that row. And you have the ability to delete it. You have the ability to edit it, even in more detail, change the color if you don't like that color. If you want a border or something, you're able to do that. You can even change if you don't want the bar. And these are the same options that popped up within conditional formatting when you click the arrow the first time, but it allows it to also be here for you. And you can change the colors. Like, it's anything that is set by default within Excel, you have the ability to go back and modify it to whatever you want to do. Okay, so I just played around with it a little bit. I'm going to click apply, and then notice how, based upon what I selected, it changed the conditional formatting within the worksheet. So a good feature if you're going to be using Excel for a specific purpose and you're going to be dealing a lot with different values where you want to show your data, if you're dealing with a budget or expense sheets and you want to keep track. And this is a good way to quickly notice where there may be some type of challenges or a problem within your worksheet. It quickly draws you in and say, whoa, why is that value down so much? Or it is within its range of what it should be. Conditional formatting will automatically apply that. And you can change the numbers. So I'm going to go up here and actually change my sales tax. Hit enter. See how I automatically, within one of my lessons, I showed you how to have absolute cell reference, where anytime you change one value, it can go in and your whole spreadsheet will change. Notice that once I change that value, my totals change, and my conditional formatting then would apply to whatever those new values are with the change. A good feature to know if you're going to be working within Excel and you're going to be managing multiple worksheets. This wraps up my second part of formatting within Excel. I hope that it was helpful. Add a comment or two if it was helpful, and if you would like to see more videos around formatting in Excel.